Hey everyone, I just want to let y'all know that the only reason that I'm talking to you right now without looking at you without moving my mouth is because I'm talking to you telepathically. I'm here at the Second and Charles in Bossier City, Louisiana because I found out that I have a hole in my collection. And that hole is Green Lantern number 45. So I'm going to look for it. And I want you all to know that you're in for a treat in this week's episode of the Comic Hero Show. This is episode 90. This is a Thanksgiving episode. There's going to be a DC versus Marvel, any questions segment, comically speaking segment, and of course, comic books up off this week. Um, and if you have family for Thanksgiving, you're probably going to do the same thing I do. You're going to go visit with them, spend time with them. But if you're not able to spend time with them, I encourage you to call them. Write a letter to them. Do whatever you can to let them know that you still care and you wish you were there. Now I'm still looking for it, still looking for it, still looking for it, still looking for it. Oh yeah, I need to get out, hurry up so I can get out of y'all's heads. Looking for it, looking for it. No, that's not it. No, that's not it either. Oh man, where is it? Where is it? Where is that book? Why can't I find? Oh yes, there it is. Green Lantern number 45. With that book, the count is now at 7,033. All right, I found the book. I'm gonna go pay for it. And y'all enjoy the show. Edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host, Victor Nunley, and I am the Comic Hero. Well, Thanksgiving is going to be coming up in a few days, and if you're like me, you're really looking forward to it. Just like I'm looking forward to doing this episode. And by the way, I hope you enjoyed the extra scene that I did. I kind of channeled my inner Jim Carrey there. But, I'm just, you know what, I'm excited about this because this is episode 90. So after this episode, I'm not that far away from episode 100. And I want to thank everyone who has watched since episode 1. I mean, I've come a long way. I mean, it's been over 2 years since I've done this. And, but anyway, let's not talk about that. So I gotta ask, any questions? All right, I have 2 questions for this episode, and the first one is from John Tarver from right here in Shreveport, Louisiana. He asked, here's the question, who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Well, John, I would have to say Goku, and here's why. Now, both Superman and Goku are similar in one way, that they're both aliens from different planets. You know, Superman being from Krypton, and Goku being from the planet Vegeta. And but they're both different because, you know, Superman's powers are like fueled by the sun, whereas Goku's powers are straight up magic. That's why I believe Goku would be Superman. And Goku would be Superman hands down. Okay, now this next question is from Sean Dean from Ruston, Louisiana, who is also one of my classmates from Homer High School. He asked, who has the best illustrators, Marvel or DC? Is there any backstory where one switched sides? Sean, I really can't answer the latter question, but really I can't answer both of them. You see, a lot of artists there have been a lot of artists that have been to both companies. I mean, you had Dan Jurgens. He was an artist on Superman, then he switched over and was the artist on Captain America. I mean, he's currently back at DC. But then you had other artists like Adam Kubert and Andy Kubert. Like, yeah, the Kubert brothers, Joe Kubert's sons. They ended up
they started out at Marvel, but then they ended up both going to DC. But Adam came back. Andy is still with DC as far as I know. Really, some of the best storytellers that I've read were with Marvel. Although DC had some pretty good art, like some current artists that are with DC right now, I would have to say Tony Daniel, Ivan Reis, Jason Fabok, who's on Justice League, Brian Hitch, who's doing Justice League of America, and then some of the artists on Marvel are guys like Ed McGuinness, who actually is really no stranger to Marvel because he used to pencil the Incredible Hulk. And then there's some other ones like Adam Kubert. He's currently on all different Avengers. But if I had to answer that question in terms of storytelling, I would have to say Marvel. Not to say that DC has like pathetic artists. Absolutely not. I have not read a book where the artwork was not good. I just haven't. But your question, the backstory about how they, well, I don't know, because I really don't know the story. I mean, if you want to, I really don't try to peer into other folks' lives like that. Just not my way. But there have been a lot, like I said, there have been a lot of both writers and artists alike that have been to both DC and Marvel and have been successful at both of them. Alright, that's it for any questions. If you have any questions you want to ask for the Any Questions segment, contact info is down there. Now, my friend Randy Niehaus from Franklin, Louisiana had requested a DC versus Marvel fight. Now, by the way, Randy was one of my two friends, the other one being Mary Leonard, who went to Louisiana Comic-Con with me in Lafayette last month, and we had a blast. And he has a DC versus Marvel fight that I think y'all are really going to enjoy. So that being said, on the DC side, we have Swamp Thing. On the Marvel side, we have Carnage. These two are going to duke it out in a segment I like to call
DC versus Marvel.
Hulk! Smash!
Welcome to DC versus Marvel. Today, it's Swamp Thing versus Carnage. Swamp Thing possesses superhuman strength and durability, telepathic dominion over plant life, vegetation body granted by shapeshifting and hyperelasticity, and the ability to create new bodies out of plants. Carnage is a vampiric alien symbiote possessing the body of Cletus Cassidy, a psychopath and homicidal sadist. Who would win? This would probably be the most violent fight in the history of fighting. They would have to sell this in an inhabitable area. The two would trade punches for minutes on end until Swamp Thing seeps into the ground in order to execute a sneak attack on Carnage. It works, but Carnage breaks the hold and sucks the vegetation out of Swamp Thing's DNA. This causes him to revert back to his previous human form, and Carnage rips out his heart, killing him instantly. Carnage wins, and that concludes this DC versus Marvel fight.
Now, I hope you enjoyed the DC versus Marvel segment, and we all kind of figured Carnage was going to win that. I mean, come on. Carnage is a vampiric symbiote who kills. And, he's a vampiric symbiote, and the sad part is the host body is a psychopath and serial murderer, excuse me. Sorry, all my English teachers that I've ever had. Okay, that's it for DC versus Marvel. Contact info is down there if you want to request a fight. Now it's time for Comically Speaking, so without further ado, let's talk comics! Alright, I only have one thing to talk about in Comically Speaking, and that's Batman and Robin Eternal. Well, really, not Batman and Robin Eternal, but Batman. Now, some of y'all are probably thinking, or probably asking, why is Bruce Wayne not Batman? Well, let me tell you why. And this was revealed in Batman number 43. The reason that Bruce Wayne isn't Batman anymore, now keep in mind, the last time we saw him as Batman was in Batman number 40, when he fought the Joker in the conclusion to the story arc Endgame. Now, they were in the caverns that led up to the Batcave. Well, both he and the Joker. And it caved in on them. And it seemingly killed both of them. Or so we thought. Now here's what happened. Batman dies for a few hours. But then this substance called Dionysium ends up seeping into his brain, causing him to forget everything causing him to, well, he had already suffered brain damage, but the Dionysium, what that did was that it healed the brain damage, but at a price. He had no memory of what happened. So Alfred ends up, he ends up in a Batcave, and then the alarm goes off, and then Alfred finds him in there, and he's like shocked. So he fills in. He asks Bruce Wayne, "Do you have any memory of what happened?" He said, "No, I don't." I mean, like, who are you? And so he fills him in on everything, and then he says, "Oh, that sounds awful." He even tells him about how he became Batman and all that, about his parents being murdered. He said, I hate that happened, but that's not me. That's not who I want to be. I don't want to be Batman anymore. I just want to be Bruce Wayne. And so he's Bruce Wayne. He's Bruce Wayne, and he really has no ties to Batman or the Bat family. The closest thing he has to a tie is to Alfred. And he just said he doesn't want, because, so in other words, what that means is that he's healed. Batman is back to Bruce Wayne. It's like he's gotten over the murder of his parents, and he just wants to move forward. For those of y'all who don't know, the current Batman is Jim Gordon, who was recently relieved of his commands after he was being arrested in Batman Eternal, when a whole bunch of people died in the Gotham City subway. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole thing about it. That's why Bruce Wayne is not Batman, for those of y'all who don't know. Alright, that's it for Comically Speaking. And if you have any topics that you want to talk about, excuse me, in the Comically Speaking segment, contact info is down there. Now, I don't mind, coming up with topics. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I talk about is really in terms of the books that I read. But if there's anything that you can pick up on, whether it doesn't necessarily have to be comics. It can be like TV movie. It can be like TV shows based on comics. It can be TV movies based on comics. It can be anything based on comics. Just let me know. All right, let's get to the comics I bought this week.
Comic books I bought this week.
All right. First up is Batman and Robin number 7. Now, this is the continuation of the current weekly series, Batman and Robin Eternal, and a lot of things that are happening in this book. I mean, it all starts out with Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, and a mysterious figure named Cassandra Cain. They're all on the list of this mysterious being that they're trying to hunt down by the name of Mother. And they tried to get a hold of Bruce Wayne to find out if he knew anything, but just like I said in the Comically Speaking segment, Bruce Wayne has no memory of what happened back when he was Batman. Really didn't have any memory of anything, period. Alright, next up is Deadpool number 2. Now, I just read the first issue, and Deadpool is pretty much a very popular figure in New York. And he even goes as far as starts up his own Deadpool Corps. Now, this isn't like the Deadpool Corps that some of you hardcore Deadpool readers know about. This Deadpool core pretty much has to do with like former bad guys, and it's very interesting. I mean, I can't wait to read this issue because I became a fan of Deadpool about 3 years ago, and at first I thought Deadpool was like not worth my time, but then I read the first issue. I said, yeah, I missed out on a lot. I'm a fan for life. Up next is Extraordinary X-Men #2. Now, Storm recently got the band back together, or the team back together. It's an interesting team. It has right here Jean Grey. Now, this is a Jean Grey, the time displaced Jean Grey, not the adult Jean Grey. That she died years and years ago in New X-Men when she was killed by Magneto. And it consists of her, Storm, Colossus, Iceman, Nightcrawler, and Logan. Not Wolverine, but Logan. The new Wolverine happens to be Laura Kinney, formerly X-23. Alright, up next is New Avengers #3. Now, this is a different... Now, like I've said before, this is a different group of Avengers. This isn't... This Avengers... They're called the New Avengers, but their actual name is AIM. They're the new AIM. In other words, it stands for Avengers Idea Mechanics. And some of the characters in this book are Hawkeye, Hulkling, Wiccan, Songbird, and Squirrel Girl, just to name a few. And they stopped this guy that ended up turning... Oh, they stopped the Maker, who is the ultimate version of Reed Richards. Now he's going around and he's in cahoots with some guy who ends up turning people into mindless zombies, where their heads are pretty much the shape of diamonds. But thanks to Songbird, she reverted them back to their human form. Alright, up next is Captain America Sam Wilson #3. Now I read the first 2 issues, and Sam Wilson decided to take to take action in a way that Steve Rogers didn't as Captain America. He decided to make political stands against things, and it got so bad to the point where Congress wanted him to resign as Captain America. Then he ends up setting up a hotline for anyone who may be in trouble. And there was this woman in Arizona whose grandson had went missing. So he goes out to Arizona, and he ends up with this fighting this this hate group who doesn't like immigrants. And Steve Rogers tells him to stand down. He said, "Hey, that's enough. We'll handle this. We'll arrest them." And of course, Steve Rogers is now the commander of S.H.I.E.L.D. And it's just a lot of crazy stuff going on in this book. Alright, up next is Star Wars #12. Now, I'm a little behind on this book, but what I can tell you is that this book pretty much takes place after Episode 4, A New Hope, and before The Empire Strikes Back. And I tell you, it's crazy good. I mean, Jason Aaron writing this book has not disappointed. And now at first the artist was John Cassidy, but now it's Stuart Eminem, and he's pretty much picking up the action-packed pace. He's pretty much picking up where John Cassidy left off, and it has been a wild ride. We even find out that along the way that Han Solo was separated. Up next is Spider-Woman #1. This is a new series of Spider-Woman, and don't adjust your computers, folks. That is Jessica Drew, pregnant. She is with child, and what I really want to know is who's the father? Could it be Ben Urich? Who knows? But I'll feel you out as I read this book. Alright, up next is Green Lantern Lost Army #6. Now, I'm a little behind on this, although I was reading #4. And the Green Lanterns last I saw, they were these members of the Green Lantern Corps are not only time displaced but they're universe displaced, and they're trying to find their way home, and then they end up coming in contact with these folks called the Light Pirates who want to sap their powers, and they almost did, and one of them, Arisha Rab, almost dies. Alright, next up is the Mighty Thor #1. Now this is the new Thor series that just came out for Marvel in their all different lineup. And at the end of the very last issue of the previous Thor series, we find out who the identity of the new Thor is, and it's Dr. Jane Foster. Now, for those of y'all who don't know, the Dr. Jane Foster, for the past few years, has been battling cancer and dying from it. And when Odin's son no longer became worthy of wielding Mjolnir, she somehow, someway ended up on the moon, and she became worthy and became the new Thor. And this one, it pretty much delves into her adventures as Thor. And finally, Action Comics #46. This is part of the True Story arc. It says corruption. Superman is having to deal with not only losing most of his powers, but also the fact that everyone knows who he really is, thanks to Lois Lane ratting out his secret. And it's not getting any easier. Now right here, this is Uncanny Inhumans #1. I already have that issue. Don't worry, I'll go downstairs and talk to Chris about that. But anyway, that's 10 I bought, which brings the total number of comics I bought since December of 1997 to 7,032. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Comic Hero Show. I'll tell you, I planned very thoroughly for this episode. It wasn't a one-cheeked episode like last week. This was planned very well. It's just like the song by Heatwave, Ain't No Half Steppin'. Before I go, I want to make some acknowledgments. First off, I want to acknowledge that my friend Chet Benner, who I know is watching this, he and his wife Carly just got married. And Carly, I just want to say welcome to the family. And I know I have some wedding gifts for y'all. I have some wedding gifts for y'all that I want y'all to pick up. And I think y'all know what they are. And also, one last thing, I want to acknowledge that another good friend of the show, who I was also in band with at Louisiana Tech University, Alicia Arsenault and her husband Stephen are expecting their first child. And I want to say congratulations to y'all, and I'm finally getting another little comic hero! Yes, sir. Oh, and, it's Thanksgiving, folks. If you're watching this, it's Thanksgiving, or better yet, it's either 2 days or the day before Thanksgiving. If you live far away and you're not being able to, be with your family, call them. Let them know you love them. Let them know you're thinking about them. I've known way too many people who have, cut the... I know quite a few people have cut the cord with their family. Look, I'm just going to go ahead and say this much. I don't care what kind of beef you may have with your family, but you cannot replace family. Really, you can't even have beef with family. You just can't. There's no sense in it. Nobody is going to love you unconditionally like family. Just saying. Alright, that's episode 90. I'm Victor Nunley. I'm the Comic Hero. I'll see you next time for episode 91. It may be here at Excalibur Comics. It may be at my apartment. It may be at Cruelties in Bossier City. I just don't know. Heck, it could be back at Clint's Comics. But anyway, I'll see you then. Till then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero, and happy Thanksgiving. Alright folks, remember when I told y'all that I ended up getting Uncanny Inhumans #1 by mistake? Here's Uncanny Inhumans #2. Now, what's going on in this book? It's a new lineup of the Inhumans. There's still, Black Bolt and Medusa are still members. But then there's a brand new member, Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. And he's formed a relationship with Medusa. Oh, and by the way, I forgot about that, about the Green Lantern #45 that I bought at 2nd and Charles earlier. So it's actually, the count is actually 7,033. But with this book, it's now, the count as of December of 1997 is now up to 7,034. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pay for this book, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.